It's kind of interesting that I'm going to be saying this because a lot of people are probably not at all going to agree with my statement on this game. But Babylon's Fall is one of my favorite games of 2022. I know, it's crazy to say that, but I have reasons. In this video, we're going to dive into all of that and more. So let's go ahead and get into it.
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
Before we kick this video off, I want to give a huge shout out and mahalo to Square-Enix for providing a review copy of Babylon's Fall. This is a game that I have absolutely adored my time with. This game, it's interesting because I did not participate in any of the early access betas that were available for the game, and there were quite a few, but I didn't participate. And the interesting thing is I've had the chance now to play through the game, and I've just really enjoyed my time with it. And maybe a lot of it has to do with the fact that I do like MMOs. I did love Godfall, which is a game that was panned by a lot of people. And, you know, I'm a fan of Destiny, I'm a fan of Diablo, and I just like how this title is an amalgamation of all that put together and so much more. So anyways, I feel like, I know I'm taking time before I get to the review because I feel like I need to preface this. I do feel like a lot of people that have reviewed this title went in there expecting a traditional Platinum Games experience, you know, like Bayonetta, Astral Chain, you know, the Vanquish, the standard experience that you would get with the Platinum Games title, because this is their first games as a service title. And I like what they did with this because you still have that, but done differently. And I think a lot of people missed the boat with them incorporating a lot of MMO mechanics into this title, and it just went over a lot of people's head. Anyways, I wonder how many people got to this point and have already thumbs down the video. That seems to be a recurring trend at this point. But anyways, like the video if you like it or dislike it, whichever you want to do. Sub to the channel, that way you can stay up to date on all the latest greatest content. I'm laughing because I'm like, at this point, people probably thumbs down this video because I'm actually praising a game that everyone else is just universally bashing. Anyways, become a channel member or a Patreon supporter today. And all that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into this review of Babylon's Fall. As a prisoner of the Empire, you're given the role of a sentinel and granted unrivaled power by the Enigma device known as the Gideon Coffin, and are tasked with traversing through the Tower of Babel as you journey to reclaim the tower. Let's get to the elephant in the room and get that out of the way first. And let's talk about the graphics. Yes, they aren't the greatest out there, and they do look very, very, very rough, with in-game character models that look like they are made for late PlayStation 2 into early PlayStation 3 games, and are of a much lower quality than even 2008's Bayonetta, which is shockingly bad to see in 2022. Not saying Bayonetta is fantastic. I'm just talking about how this game looks. It's shocking the way it looks. There's an odd blurriness to the character models that make them look even worse, and the lack of details in the character models on top of the insanely poor lip syncing make this honestly the worst looking game of 2022. Now, with that out of the way, the game does utilize a unique art style that is based on being a pastel painting, as seen in several of the game's cutscenes, which can be interesting to look at. After a certain dungeon run, the graphics do improve, although that's not saying much overall. All in all, I wouldn't come into Babylon's Fall for the graphics at all. Gameplay-wise, Babylon's Fall is one of the most confused titles for reviewers because they are expecting it to be a simple dungeon crawling hack and slash action game, of which This game just simply is and it isn't at the same time. The game, at its core, is basically a Monster Hunter style game with you being able to select various missions from a mission board while being in a central hub where you can change out your weapons, gear, and more. You can run missions with a party. It's kind of complicated at first figuring out how to get it going, or you can do solo missions, which can be brutal if you don't have the right gear level. Control wise, you have a light attack, heavy attack, dodge, jump, interact, emote, and coffin attacks, which are utilized by mapping them to L2 and R2. You can chain together light and heavy attacks to put the hurt on enemies, while also using your coffin attacks to utilize your spirit gauge as well. If you dodge right before being hit, then you will activate a slowdown, which is similar to the witch time in Bayonetta and the slowdown effect as in NieR Automata, where you can punish the enemy and allow you to do a bit more damage to them. While also being influenced by Monster Hunter, Babylon's Fall is also influenced by Godfall. Previous Platinum Games titles, in general, they're control-wise, Destiny, and is heavily influenced by MMOs such as Final Fantasy XIV, with each mission level having different mechanics to them, such as needing to utilize stage items such as an energy sphere, which keeps you from dying due to the atmosphere in a volcanic area, with the trade-off of losing the ability to temporarily use your coffin weapons, or the L2, R2 map buttons, until you drop that energy sphere. Other areas will have you needing to fight off enemies and needing to activate an AoE or an area of effect, energy sphere to keep you from being damaged by oncoming flames. There's even an area outside of a tower where you need to run across the bridge to get to a door, but will need to hide off in an area off to the side as the dragon will fly by and breathe fire on the bridge while also avoiding pitfalls and enemies as well. There's just so much that's constantly thrown at you, and I don't see any of these things mentioned in other reviews, which is incredibly interesting. When it comes to bosses, you'll find that each one has a minimum of 2 to 3 phases where they will charge up their attack patterns after you get their damage down to a certain extent, or their health bar down to a certain extent, with many getting noticeable buffs that can become a problem for you. The bosses will also have adds, or what is known as additional enemies, that they will summon at different phases of the battle. While it is often tempting to focus on the adds, as they can sometimes be plentiful and many will inflict status ailments, however, I encourage you to focus on the boss, especially if you're playing solo, and if you're with a team, then it's best to have one of your teammates focus on the adds if they become too much of a problem. When it comes to equipment, it plays heavily into feeling like Godfall and Destiny, with weapons and equipment having numbers that indicate what power level they are, and also what bonus traits that they have as well, which, depending on what you equip, will determine your power level, which can determine how difficult each of the missions can be, as each mission will have a certain recommended mission level that will you'll want to either be at that or be above it, or be in the vicinity of it, like within the vicinity of it, unless you want to have an incredibly difficult time, especially if you're soloing missions. You may have heard that the game has this pay-to-win mechanic and microtransactions thrown in your face within it, and, well, that's all a bunch of bullshit, actually. And it's perpetuated by those looking to make a lot of quick hits on their videos. And, it's a trending thing to bash things on YouTube as well as in journalism. So like any other live service game, you can purchase a season pass that will give you access to more content that will be coming down the line. And in the case of this title, Season 1 content is all free to players. Any items you purchase will be purely cosmetics and aren't anything that impact the experience of the game, as nothing you purchase is essential. So, what is the bottom line when it comes to Babylon's Fall? Personally, I find a lot to love about this game, and with a roadmap for a ton of new content, along with a great and welcoming community that is incredibly active both in-game and on Reddit, who love the game despite the general public's hate for the title, Are there any issues with the game that keep it from greatness? Well, there are plenty of things to dislike about the game, from the graphics to the way the game complicates playing with other players, and the overall lack of explaining how different mechanics work and really forcing you to figure out things on your own by trial and error. Is this a title for everyone? No, it's not. And honestly, the marketing for this title has also hurt it, as this is an action adventure title that has a lot going for it and caters more to the MMO crowd and those who like to play titles like Monster Hunter and Destiny and Godfall. If you're willing to invest time into learning this game's mechanics and are interested in playing the game with other people in the game's community, then you will find a lot to love, especially if you love MMOs. If you're someone who just wants to pick up a new action title and mash buttons, then this honestly just isn't for you. And that's it. That's my review for Babylon's Fall. Again, mahalo to Square-Enix for providing a review copy of the game. And I want to know what you guys think. If you got to this point, if you agreed with me, if you disagree with me, I feel like there's a sharp divide between those who are actually playing the game and enjoying it, have learned the mechanics, versus the casuals that played maybe the demo, or they watched like Angry Joe or any other like YouTuber or journalist that just bashed the game. Because here's the thing, and I saw a Reddit post which is really interesting, and it really encapsulates how I feel about this title too. If you talk about this title, from an authoritative standpoint, like any of these journalists or YouTubers do, and you don't know the terminology or what certain items are, or certain events are, or certain abilities are, then that really goes to show how much you did or didn't play the game. Now, granted, freedom of speech, people can say what they want. If you liked it, cool. If you didn't like it, that's fine as well. I'm going to keep playing it regardless because I genuinely love this title. But it's kind of interesting being on the other side as a content creator and a journalist, seeing how it's easy to just bash something to get quick hits versus doing the due diligence of actually taking the time to learn. And I understand we have more games coming out now than ever, but I think there still needs to be a level of integrity kept going forward. But anyways, that's my thoughts. That's my little rant and ramble at the end. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and ding the notification bell and set the notifications to all. That way you stay up to date on all the latest greatest content that comes from this channel. And if you want, become a channel member today, or also, if you want, in conjunction or individually, become a Patreon supporter over on patreon.com/MikhailCasanova. I also got merch on Teespring and TeePublic if you want to pick up any of that. And all that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you want to pick up this game, I have the affiliate links down below for that as well. I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. Hope you guys have an aloha rest of your day, and be blessed, stay safe, wear a mask, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. And if you found anything of importance or substance that you gained from watching this, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the content that you get from my channel, from podcasts, streams, reviews, impressions, reactions, and so much more. If you want to support what we do have channel memberships. We've got Patreon, we've got Subscribestar, as well as coffee, which I would love to be drinking some coffee right now, which I am. That's some good coffee. But anyway, we got all of that, and we also have merch on Teespring and TeePublic, so make sure you go check that out. And all that being said, I just hope to see you in the next video that I put out. So hey, see you around.